All right. Hello, everyone. I'm making this video because I was asked to by my great niece, Mira. She asked me how I met my first husband, Philip. So I thought I would tell that story a little. So I graduated from college in 1968. I went to OE and I majored in psychology. And I was at home a lot. I did find work as a secretary at my father's. My father was an architect, and excuse me. And but I was I was so sick of being at home because my mother was always on my case. And I think my mother overheard me when I'd said to my friend that I was really sick of her and I wanted to get away from it all. And she said, "Why not go live with your Aunt Coralia in the United States? You'd feel so much freer there," she said. And so in 1970, I went to my aunt's house. She lived in Boca Raton in Florida. She lived in a little condo. A lot of old people live in Florida. And she lived in this, a whole block was filled with retired people, so they could go to each other's homes and play poker and bridge and mahjong and so on. And so my aunt lived by herself in her condo. And next door to her was a woman by the name of Phyllis. So Phyllis was an interesting woman. She was very she was a she talked a lot. I remember. And she was rather eccentric. So was my aunt. And they were good friends. And Phyllis had this southern accent. She was a retired nurse. And she had a nephew that lived with her because that nephew was teaching at the University of West Florida in the anthropology department. And that person was Philip. Philip Oscar Devilsborn III. And they were pretty close. They lived with each other because the elder Philip, which was Philip's uncle and Phyllis's husband, had died a few years back, and Philip wanted to keep his aunt company while he did have a job teaching at the University of West Florida. He taught archaeology in the anthropology department. And it was at a party that the residents of the area threw for each other. They had a party, like a gathering on Saturday night. And that was when I was introduced to Philip. And Philip was this rather awkward man. He was he was 2 years older than me. So he must have been 26, I think, and I was 24. And he was very nice, and as old ladies do, they introduced us to each other, so we could, because we were both single. And so we did have a couple of dates, and it was very nice. He was always such a gentleman. He had a southern gentility about him. And I think the aunts were very happy about it. And I always went to Aunt Phyllis's place because my Aunt Coralia smoked a lot. She smoked like a London chimney. And so I would hang out there with Phyllis and Philip, and they would call us three Phils in a pod because all our names had Phils in it. But I remember those years, it was very nice. It was the first time in my life that I really felt independent because I did live by myself in college, and I lived in Kamayoran. It was in a boarding house owned by a very nice Manado lady. But my mother would often come and visit, and she had good intentions. She didn't want to leave me alone. But I really wanted to be independent, and being in the United States really did teach me to be independent. And Philip was a Catholic. He wasn't very religious, actually, more spiritual. But he did go to church to accompany Aunt Phyllis, and I would accompany them. But he had a very old school Southern Catholic family. They went to Notre Dame and so on. And so I converted to Catholicism, and I had the catechism when we were engaged, and I wasn't very concerned really with religion, but it was to satisfy the family as you would, and really that's all there is to it. And after we got married in 1972, we had a wedding. The ceremony was in Atlanta, in the family home, and the last time that I went here to Indonesia was later that year. So I had the wedding in May, and we had the reception in December here at home. And that was the last time I went here before I went back in 2012. And then we honeymooned in the Hebridean Islands, off the coast of the United Kingdom. And we went all over the world because he was always interested in the latest archaeological digs. And at that time, there were a lot. We went to Sardinia, we went to Greece, and what was most exciting was Egypt. What was that? The Lost Valley? King's Valley, was it? Very big complex. I didn't really actually spend that much time in the site. You would understand. I spent most of my time at the hotel and in the markets, and at a few clubs. But it was really quite impressive. And I went to so many places. If you would ask me right now, I wouldn't really remember them unless I would look at the pictures again, really. But we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of adventures, and I think I was quite privileged to have that sort of relationship, that sort of marriage, because after Philip died, my other marriages weren't so very happy. Yeah, my last husband, I was recovering from hip surgery. I had hip replacement surgery, and my now ex-husband had an affair with the secretary while I was recovering with my hips because I couldn't, But yeah, in Philip's later years, his parents moved to the Cayman Islands. And it wasn't very far from Florida, and Philip's mother died in 1999, if I remember correctly, and so we moved to Florida permanently in the late 90s because we were getting on. Well, Philip had problems with his heart. he would eat like a pig, really. And but he still worked at the University of West Florida. He would publish his research. He would help other people with the publications and things like that. But he didn't teach a lot during those years. And yeah, but he did. He was a guest lecturer until about 2004, and until after that, his health sort of deteriorated. Um, he died on Christmas in 2005, and we've talked a lot about, what would happen if one of us died, and he said that, of course, he would die first. And I said, well, of course, I would kill you first. But I didn't kill him. Yeah. Uh, we were very, it was something that we were very accepting about. We weren't scared of it. Of course, it's sad. Of course, I was sad, and I miss him a lot. But death is a part of life. And we knew that he was sick. And he sort of just, his light went off. And that was it. And yeah, well, I suppose that's all I can tell you about the story. So I hope I could answer your inquiry, Mira. All right, thank you. Goodbye.